Now in the studio with me, I've got a very smart man of great knowledge, great experience in this world, who is in fact a chiropractor and co-creator / founder of Positure, all about helping kids develop good posture while using technology, iPads, all that kind of stuff. Dr. Lund Socks, good morning. How are you?
Good, Mr. Liam.
Oh, thank you. Hey, Mr. Liam. I love it.
It's a Southern thing. At home, if you don't say, Miss or Mister, you get slapped on the head. So
really?
I can still see my mom, expecting her to come up behind me and slap me on the head for not doing it.
What part of America?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah. Amazing. That is awesome. Hey, co-founder, co-creator, as I just let everyone know, of Positure. Been going for just over a decade now, is that right?
13 years.
13 years. Look, you'll explain it much better than I will. What is Positure? How did it all start? Because it sounds like a really, really great thing for kids.
Well, the bottom line is phones, iPads, technology, they're becoming more and more of an intricate part of our lives. The problem with that is, while there's all this wonderful fascination and education and amusement and stuff with it, there's a lot of negative aspects as well. Things like text neck, behavioral problems.
Text neck. Sorry to interrupt. What is that?
Text neck is so when you're hunched over your phone.
Oh, yes.
And it stretches the back of your neck doing that, which then affects everything at the back of your brain, which basically enables us to have a normal daily life. So if you're putting pressure on that, obviously it doesn't work as well. So anyhow, what we do with this is we try to make screen time better. As long as kids are going to be on it, which they are more and more often, as parents ourselves, we noticed that things kept getting worse and worse in our own families. So those of us who have certain gifts and education and stuff got together. These are some professors from Flinders. They're medical doctors. They're orthopedic surgeons.
Not just a bunch of guys that got together with a nice idea. There's research involved in this and a whole process of very, very intelligent guys.
Well, there is, yes. And I'm probably the dumbest of the bunch.
Of course not.
But evidently I'm the dreamer and the magnet that attracted them all, so they say. But, so with this, we wanted to make things better for our own families and our own kids. So if we're going to be on these devices, we said, imagine these things that cause so many problems, if we could actually retask that for the same amount of time we're on there to actually help fix the problem. And this is where the whole concept came. And it originated from a patient of mine who came in one morning. She had 2 kids. I was working on her and having a chat, and they were hunched over their iPads, literally with their nose on the screen. And she was just at her wit's end. Wow. She said, is there anything out there that would prevent my kids from doing this? And I said at the time, 13 years ago, I said, I know for a fact there's not, but that's a great idea. So she and I, Fiona Revolta's her name, we started looking at how we might address this problem, what technology was available, what it would have to look like, what it would have to achieve, and how it would have to change and improve things. So for the first 7 years on that, we were waiting on technology to catch up with these ideas we had. Well, lo and behold, a good friend of ours, Peter Attard, we were chatting with him one day, and I was telling him about it. I said, look, we got this great thing, and we need to create a prototype. Do you know of anybody who we could get to do it? We don't have a big budget because we've done all this out of our own pockets for the last 13 years.
Wow.
So anyhow, I asked him, he said, I've got these friends that do VR. Let me talk to them. So long story short, he hooked us up with these amazing brothers, and they loved the idea. They had kids of their own. They said, man, if my kid could do it, this would be awesome. And this has been every person who's come on board, the same story with their own kids. So it's a family thing. So anyway, they put a prototype together, and we looked at it, and it worked incredibly well. Anybody who was doing this hunching over, all of a sudden they were sitting up straight. So I showed that to my neurology sensei, because besides a chiropractor, I've had postdoctorate studies in the field of functional neurology.
Wow.
Not that I'm a functional neurologist. I do not have letters
just
after the name.
Some study.
Yes, I needed more information. So anyway, I showed it to him, and he's brilliant with this kind of stuff. So he went nuts over it. He said, man, what we could do with this. And he sees a lot of hopeless cases in Melbourne, all neurologic things. And a large percentage of those were from problems with iPhones, iPads, and technology. So this thing kind of started out from a personal, family, individual need into something that we all need now, not only kids, but adults as well. But what we have realized with this through our prototypes and all is we wanted to see if it would work well. So we did a pilot study or a feasibility study with Flinders University during COVID. So what should have been about a 3 to 6 month exercise ended up being a 3-year exercise.
Wow, 3 years.
And that gave us even more credibility and confidence and stuff of what we were doing. Well, the bottom line to this, Liam, is when Flinders did this with 63 kids, we had a 93% success rate of kids going from hunching over to sitting up straight while they were doing it. Their pulse rate dropped by several beats a minute over the 5 minutes they were playing.
Wow.
And the parents, pretty much across the board, reported to us afterwards that for hours afterwards they seemed to be a lot calmer, regulated, I guess, is one word that gets used. And from that, it was incredible. That study has been published by Flinders. We have, from that, a lot of people, SSO officers, psychologists, teachers, have heard about our Positure games, and they have started using it with ASD, ADHD type kids and stuff, just as a curiosity. But the reports that have been coming back from that have really inspired us to work with these autism groups, ADHD groups, to develop something and to a further extent where we have something that can actually be a very good tool for them to help calm kids or regulate them as time goes on. And we're in the process now of organizing just that kind of study with Flinders again. So it's very exciting. The results we've seen, we had no idea it would do this with spectrum or neurodiverse kids. The first one that came across the board was through an SSO officer who had a child he was looking after in a public school. The kid had been bounced school to school because they couldn't do anything with him. You couldn't get him to sit straight. He would run out. He was disruptive. He would break things. So he was at his wit's end. And this guy, he's very intelligent. He's basically our autism officer now with the company.
Wow.
He's that
That's
smart.
Very cool. Anyway,
he came in for an adjustment when I said, look, why don't you download this game called Positure Shapes and just put it on your iPad and just take it to school and see what happens. Well, about 4 hours later, he calls emergency call. I'm going like, oh no, I hope this is a good news. He said, man, what's in that thing? I said, well, it gets certain parts of the brain working right, and then posture helps with that, and all these type things. It gets these massive parts working that tend to be put a damper on the addictive type problem things. Anyway, he said the whole school's talking about this, the teachers, the principals. The kid, he played it for 15 minutes, and he has been sitting there in class doing everything he's supposed to for the last 3 hours.
That's incredible. And
that was our first thing with that. So if this is something that we can develop to that degree, utilizing the input from families with neurodiverse kids and stuff, and the university things and all, then we have an opportunity here for something that you've already got in your pocket to do these amazing things anytime you need it. There's wonderful support and stuff for families and stuff out there, but if you got something that's already there all the time, how cool would that be? So instead of handing them a babysitter, you hand them something that can actually get things working better for them in that time that you would normally, just try to distract
calm them off and give them something to do. It's actually helping them.
Yeah, so it's an amazing place we've arrived at. It doesn't prove we haven't proven anything. We've got all anecdotal things in that arena, but what has been coming back has inspired us to go down that path with the people and families with that to help us develop this. So here again, what started as a single family thing has now branched out into something where there's a whole lot of families that we can help to, I won't say solve the problem, but improve things significantly by working together. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
That is very cool. Goodness me, that's amazing. And the fact that 93% success rate is just astounding. Now, you mentioned kids who have autism, ASD and other cognitive learning disabilities and things like that. It works for them. It helps them. What is the the age bracket, I guess, that this is designed for? Because I'm sure there's lots of parents listening right now who are very interested in finding out how, who for.
Yes. When we did our feasibility study with Flinders, we used kids from age 3 to 18, covering pretty much the entire definition of childhood. Basically, it's for anybody. We have developed certain games that are designed to help calm people. One of them is called Positure Shapes. Another one is called Positure's Hoops, which is kind of like a basketball game. And all these are fun. What we've done with these things, Liam, is people always crack up when I say this. They have a good therapeutic effect on people. So in essence, what we're doing is we're disguising broccoli as chocolate cake. So you give a kid something and say, here, you want some more chocolate cake? It's made of broccoli. I won't tell you that, but here, it's going to be good for you type thing. You don't have to tell them it's good for them. So with the age range, it's pretty much any age. We've tried it on people from age 2 to 100 years old, and they've pretty much had similar experiences and feedback with it. So one good thing we did right after we had our first game, which was called Discovery Island, which is the one that we actually used in the feasibility study, we had an amazing opportunity at the Marine Discovery Center. A company that is our software designers called Monkey Stack. And they do incredible work, and they've done all of our games so far. Anyhow, they were approached by the Marine Discovery Center to update all of their digital things to help kids learn more about the South Australian oceans and sea life. Well, with that, we had an opportunity to put some of our games on some of their handsets for kids visiting. And the results from them, it was a favorite when kids come in. We had designed special handsets as well, which we will get back into down the track once we get this, up and going to a certain degree. But anyway, we captured only the movement data from those things with people using it. And we had at the last count about 15,000 people that had used this, still at around that 93% success rate of going from hunched over to sitting up straight while they were doing it. Now, the good thing that we've learned from those tests is when you're playing it and you're upright, that's called good aesthetic posture. You see it, you're standing there, it's great while you're doing it. Well, what happens afterwards? What our research and all has enabled us to do since then is get it to where there's a neurologic thing where if you play it 10 to 15 minutes a day, and we suggest you play it with your kids. It's something you can connect with, you have fun with, you can compete with it and stuff, but not in a way where it's like, the addictive nature of a lot of games is kind of the opposite. But by doing that, it gets a longer, it affects the brain deeper, which lasts longer, which then you create a pattern of good posture and good posture behavior instead of kind of like a dimmer switch that happens when you're playing it initially. So our learning curve has been straight up for the last 7 years with this, and we have there's no end in sight with the possibilities of it. We're humbled, we're excited, we're basically just sponges soaking up with all the things that people who use these games come back and tell us, because we're doing it for the public. We're part of something much, much bigger than ourselves. Unseen hands have been guiding us the whole way on this. We haven't had one hiccup in 7 years. Wow. What we've needed each time is seem to walk in the door, and you have to respect that and know that you're being guided down this path instead of we've developed something that's a need, not a want. It's a show, not a sell. And it's we're completely humbled every day when we get up and hear the good things that happen. That's incredible. Well, that's all we've got time for today, Dr. Lund. But really quickly, for people who want to find out more, all about Positure, where can they go? Our website is Positure. That's positure.com.au. All the info you would want to find is on there. The clinical trial from Flinders is on there as well, if you're interested in that stuff. There's videos, there's animated things where you can see how it works and what our results have been so far. And so have a look at it and let us know what you think. Amazing. Dr. Lund Socks, co-creator and founder of Positure, thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you very much, my friend, and to all the listeners out there, have a great day.